Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you for the panel discussion on scope and career opportunities in electrical engineering. I welcome the Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Rahul Patil Sir, Mr. Amol Saregaonkar Sir, Mr. Varun Wagh Sir, Mr. Amol Khanolkar Sir, Principal Professor Dr. K.N. Nandurkar Sir, Head of Department Professor D. Kushare Sir, faculty members, and all the participants. I also welcome Ms. Kshipra Rajhans ma'am and in charge head Dr. R.K. Munje sir. It's a great pleasure to have you all here. I request in charge head Professor Dr. R.K. Munje sir to address today's session and introduce our department.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of K.K. Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research and our department, Electrical Engineering, I welcome our panelists today for this wonderful panel discussion on the scope and opportunities in electrical engineering sector. Right now, I am sitting in our Faraday Hall, that is a seminar hall of our department. And here I am sitting with almost 70 to 80 students of second year, third year, and some students from the final year engineering. The purpose of arranging this panel discussion is very clear that right now the students are having many doubts about the future of electrical engineering. What is going to happen after this pandemic and what are the openings, what are the opportunities hereafter. So in order to make all those doubts clear, we have arranged this panel discussion. And for that, we have requested the eminent speakers from various fields, sectors to come together and let us help us to understand what is the future of electrical engineering. So that's why we have taken some people from core industries, software industry, someone as an entrepreneur, and someone is R&D sector. Before we begin, I will just introduce briefly about our institute and our department. K.K. Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research is one of the oldest engineering college in Nashik, started in 1984. We have various branches. One of them is electrical engineering. Recently, we have started branches in computer science as computer science and design, artificial intelligence and data science, robotics and automation. These are the emerging branches that we have started this year and last year. Our 8 engineering branches are accredited by National Board of Accreditation for 3 years. And recently we have completed a visit for mechanical department. So soon we will be having 9 departments. And this is one of the biggest achievement that we will be having on the part of K.K. Wagh Education Society. Last month we had a visit for from UGC committee experts for granting autonomy. And maybe in the next year, K.K. Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research will be an autonomous institute. So that we will have a freedom to have our own curriculum and structure. We are having 2 divisions of electrical engineering. Apart from that, we have one PG course in power systems. And we also have a research center where candidates can register as a PhD student and they can complete their PhD. So with this, I will stop here. I will not take much time. I will stop here and I request, once again, I welcome all the panelists and all the students for this panel discussion. And I request our anchors to go ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now let us know in short about our today's panelist. Mr. Rahul S. Patil, sir. He is an alumni of K.K. Wagh and currently he is a manager of research and development department at CG Power and Industry Solution Limited, Nashik. He received Dream Team Award in year 2019 and 18. He is also responsible for design and development HV and EHV gas insulted switchgear. Mr. Amol Saragaonkar sir. He is a coach, consultant, and management learning facilitator. Has more than 16 years of industry and academic experience. And currently, he is a director at Swift and Solution LLP and Meraki Agui Services LLP. I welcome you, sir. Next, Mr. Varun Wag, sir. He is a BE Electrical Certified Energy Auditor, 15-year experience in MSE DCL. Currently, he is working in Nasik Testing Division of MSE DCL as an assistant engineer. I welcome you, sir. Next, Mr. Amol Khanalkar, sir. He is BS in Electrical Engineering from Government College of Engineering, Pune. He is expert in electric bike designing. He is also a strong engineer. He has also a strong engineering professional skill in engineering management, semiconductors, business development, and embedded system. Ms. Kshipra Rajhans, ma'am, she is an alumni of Kekewag Institute of Engineering and Education and Research. She was an assistant manager in Mahindra and Mahindra. At present, she is associated with Deloitte as an analyst. Now, I hand over to Vedika for further introduction.
Thank you, Sakshi. By hearing the introduction, I hope the audience would be really excited for our session today. So let us start for our panel discussion. First, I would like to request Mr. Rahul Patel sir to unmute himself and participate in our discussion. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Yeah, well, thank you.
Yes, sir. So I would like to ask my first question to you. What learning opportunities an electrical engineer should grab while doing 4 years degree course?
To add to your question, answer to your question is very simple.
Yes, sir.
If you come to any industry, may it be electrical industry or any industry, I would say, not specific to electrical industry, in 4 years of engineering quorum, I must say that every individual should focus on their first basic principles of first year engineering, which will enhance every person to be a good engineer. See, electrical engineering, every engineering is basic engineering first. Later on, based on the application, it is divided into the categories, whether it is electrical, mechanical, computer, electronics engineering and all. To be very specific about electrical engineering, yes, I would say in India or in the world, electrical engineering is a very fortunate discipline, I would say, wherein future is very defined, or we can say very bright future for individual to say so. And to talk about Kekewag College of Engineering and about the electrical engineering branch, I have been associated with this college from last almost 10 years. I have passed out from this college in 2009. There are some good disciplines about electrical engineering department, which I have to say very specifically, because after passing out from Kekewag, there are many learnings which, or not, I can't say learning, that will be experience when you come across our associates who are from various colleges, I would say, may it be from Maharashtra only or outside Maharashtra also. Then we come to know the difference between the other institutes and probably Kekewag. I would say, I would be very happy to say yes. In CG, at least we always prefer to have electrical engineers from Kekewag. So to say, in 4 years of electrical engineering, I would very typical about, see, CG is the company who is associated with switchgear manufacturing, but it is very basic course, and 2-3 subjects are already identified in electrical engineering course of 4 years, wherein we learn the basics. But very important thing, what I would love to have in the curriculum or The good part of the course is the more department used to visit to various industries like CG, that would add value to every individual. And it has added value to, because whenever we talk about in our forums, we used to see that young engineers who are coming from the colleges might not have seen the products what we are manufacturing. Yes, they have learned in the books in academics, but they don't know the application, how the product look like. It add very much value when in the engineering course itself, if we are giving the opportunity to a student to visit to switchyards, to a manufacturing hubs, it will add a great value to know the products in prior to going into that industry itself. So in my opinion, whichever way the practical orientation approach of the department, if we can enhance it to the bigger level, it would add value to everyone.
Thank you, sir. It was really great listening to you. My next question is, many of our students have a deep interest in research and development in electrical engineering. So my question is, what are the opportunities in the R&D field, maybe in government or maybe in private R&D institutions? What would you say about research and development in electrical engineering?
Let me very specific about R&D. See, R&D is a continual process. It is not a one-time activity. So to say, like I'll give you one simple example. Maybe in 1980s, CG has started manufacturing of switchgears, which include circuit breakers, CTPTs, and some VCBs part of it. But still the R&D work is continual. It is the requirement of the product, or to say of the customer. So based on that, research is a continual improvement process that everyone has to undergo. Yes, I would say to have a good opportunities in research and development field is every individual who is undergoing the 4-year degree course should be aware of the recent advancements and the requirements of the market, or I would say the recent developments in the field around us. Example, electric vehicle was a project, like a academic project when I passed out in 2009. Now, to add value to it, you can see around us, electrical vehicle is like a product which is available on roads nowadays. So to see any product in the market or to have a research, it needs a background. So in today's date, the students who are working on the academic projects has to go one step ahead and more detail into it. Example, many of the time our engineering projects are concept based, means to that serious level. Maybe it is at very concept level, but if we go one step ahead of that, maybe some analytical tools need to be incorporated. To be very specific about electrical engineering analytical tools, I would say it should be part of our quorum also. Like it should be part of our regular academics, which I have seen in other institutes of South Indian, like in South part of India, there are some institutions who are having analytics is a part of quorum, which adds a value to every individual. And then the students tend to work towards the R&D. If you talk about our electrical engineering students, their values or their focus is more on operations, marketing, sales, testing, like that. But if you compare the example, there are 10 students, like 10 engineers working around the research and R&D group, you will find more than 5 are from South. The very big reason for that is the approach, maybe the academic course is designed in such a way that their focus is automatically getting shifted towards the developmental activities. So in my opinion, there are a lot of scope for R&D. As I said, it is a continual improvement, not only in private sector, also in public sector or in government sector. There are many opportunities which are coming up in the market. So to say, some years ago, we used to visit a switchyard, which is air insulated based switchyards. Nowadays, the trend has been changed over from AIS to GIS now. Same way, maybe the few years down the line, the products will slowly tend towards the smart solutions. Conventional substations will be replaced by smart grids, microgrids, like that. These all topics we are learning in books, but it will be a future, that I would say. So as far as electrical engineering is concerned, I would say the future is very bright. Every individual must focus on their basics, and it should add some value to individual and to the society.
Great, sir. Now we really have a different perspective regarding this. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to request Mr. Amol Khanolkar, sir, to unmute and participate in the interaction.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to this session.
Sure.
Many of us are in final year of engineering and searching for jobs and new opportunities. So according to you, what qualities or attributes electrical engineers should have at the end of a degree, what he or she will acquire, or what is required in the corporate field currently? So can you please explain this?
I think what Rahul said, right? I think if the people know the basics, nobody is looking for what I would say next Einstein, but people are looking for engineers who are very sound on their basics. Means he repeated it 3 times, I'll repeat it 3 more times. Whatever if you have learned it well, I think that's what people are looking for. Maybe when I don't know what campus interviews you get, but most of them are nowadays software, control systems, hardcore electrical engineering. Everybody is going to look for the same thing. If you are good at that, I have gone to a lot of campuses. I tend to overlook the GPA, frankly telling you. I have people who have got 99 in GATE and 9.5 GPA versus I have people who have 6.5 GPA, and I've even taken those 6.5 GPA kids because they are good at basics. If you have done all 4 years, you've done rote learning, then you need to really go back and get those pick up those concepts. Industry wise, I think field is pretty much open. Sky's the limit. You can choose what you want. If you think you like power electronics, go for it, because see, electrical is a basic, right? It's you've got a base. And I think in the curriculum I've seen now, there are a lot of digital electronics. Do you guys teach digital electronics or some other subjects like that in electrical right now in your college?
Yes, we have some courses on digital electronics, signal processing, control systems. Yeah. Okay. So with electrical, you can go to any field that you want. Now we have one panelist now who's become a data analyst, right? Shipra. She's become a data analyst, right? I don't know which degree you took from KK Wag, but I think it's just a base. You can go anywhere you want. And I believe you don't limit yourself to the opportunities.
Thank you, sir. It will definitely help and add value to our career. We'll definitely try to improve our basic knowledge. Thank you, sir. My next question is, after completing engineering, there are various options like higher studies or job or entrepreneurship. We would like to hear your views regarding this. So my question is, can an electrical engineer start his or her own startup, business or enterprise, or can he be an existing part of any firm?
Okay, so it's a 2-part question. I'll answer it in that
Yes.
way. So let's take higher studies. After, okay, I'll go back in time. Okay, in 1990, when I did my 12th grade, actually I came to KK Wag to get admission. Just to know, I'm also 4 years we were in Nasik. Of course, I was too much of a idiot playing cricket, and I'd got very less percentage. I did not get into KK Wag. I did diploma in a government polytechnic. I was lucky enough to get in there, and then I stood 4th in Maharashtra and got into degree college. So people get second chances, but KK Wag over time has become a very prominent college, because some of my friends' niece and nieces have now graduated from KK Wag. So one option, masters, right? I went and did my masters in semiconductors at the University of Arkansas. So even in US or in any other places, EECS, many of them are combined courses, right? I mean, you have electrical department, you have computer science department. Of course, some people have specific computer science department, but with the EE degree, you can do robotics, you can do computer science, you can do a lot of different fields. You are not limited to doing only hardcore electrical engineering. Right now, I see huge potential in power electronics because of the electrical drivetrains that are needed for electric vehicles, right? Traction motors mean, I remember when I had come to KK, they had this huge electrical machines. COEP, Government College of Engineering, also had huge electrical machines. We thought that they are outdated. They are not. The principles of the motors are still same. And if you look at traction electric, what they're doing, it's all in the motors. How do you increase the electrical efficiency of that? It maybe it's an induction motor or an axial flux motor. It just depends on what you want. So the second part, which I will answer, entrepreneurship, yes. If you have a research or you have a development brain, go ahead. And if you have a dad and mom who can finance you within the first 2 or 3 years, great. If you don't have that, get a relevant experience. And at the side, you can always do things, right? You have friends in other department. What I see now is the trend, even in US or in India, is a mixed between, let's say you have a mechanical guy and you have an electrical guy and you come up with a product concept, great, go and pitch it. Right now, there's so much funds available in the market. If your idea is good and you have a working prototype or something like that, you can start your own company right out of college also. I mean, it's a risk, but the one wise guy, one IIT professor once told me, the cost of doing business goes up as you age. You know what that means? At the start of your life, if you're doing a job, you are at a lower salary. You can take a risk, right? You can take a risk, and even if you fail, you've not had too much losses. But yeah, when you're 30, 35, doesn't mean that you should not start it. But when you're 30, 35, 40, you're in a cushy job, you've got a family, you've got kids to look for, then you take a risk, the cost of doing business goes up, right? So if you think you have it in you, go ahead and start a company. Nothing should stop you, and nobody should tell you that you cannot do it. So that's what it is.
Thank you, sir. This will really motivate us and inspire us ahead. I'll come back to you for the other questions, but now I would like to request Mr. Amol Saregaonkar, sir, to unmute and participate in the interaction.
Yes, go ahead.
Welcome, sir, to this session. As we all are aware that our today's discussion is based on scope and career opportunities in electrical engineering. So my first question to you is, what is electrical engineering in your terms?
I would loosely define it. See, there is a theoretical definition which I am not, because there are great professors who are going to train you on that. What I will say is from a commercial angle, what I've seen in last 16 years, how things are. So the story is basically, the electrical engineering is basically building your capacity, knowledge. Once you are ready with this from an academic perspective, there is a different reality altogether. And to be a successful one into a field, one has to have a commercial acumen also. How trends are getting changed. For example, there was an energy audit when I passed out in 2004. There was a lot of discussion about energy audit and how we utilized our energy in an efficient manner. Now 16 years on are passed, and now the world is talking about ESG, environment, social and governance, and the money for an investment in any company, which is one of the core part, is coming to companies who are environmentally sensitive, socially sensitive, and are going for a corporate governance. That is, there is a transparency in their business. So this change has occurred over the period, and now people are talking about environment. People are funding electrical generation projects only having a renewable sources. So this is what happened in last 2-3 years. So looking at those next 20 years, 30 years, there are companies who have already pledged that we will be a carbon neutral company. Now looking at those, there will be a lot of scope of electrical engineering into the transmission part when people are going for a nuclear energy or a solar energy or renewable energy. So the definition of core engineering will change slightly. we will move away from thermal or gas run projects to a different aspect, because the investment or the funding is coming through that, not for a normal or this. So naturally, you look at the engineering from a perspective, which I always say that world will be always looking at money aspects of it. So when you are fundamentally strong, you should build commercial acumen over the next 10 years, 12 years, and look at the trends, and then you will grow. For example, the data analytics, what Shipra will talk about. So that is also happening the last 8 years, 10 years. When we passed out, there was no energy exchange. There were discussions about energy exchange, but that was like at a very concept level or a very basic level. Now, energy is getting sold, bought at a phenomenal rate and with a great efficiency. And there is a huge data getting generated. People are analyzing that data and deciding the tariffs. So these things have happened. Now we will go to the next level. And the generation and other aspects have been looked at. The thermal power is used to pump the water from hydroelectric, like the drain to the dams. And in peak hour, there is another option is open to generate an electricity, because it is commercially viable. The thermal power in the night is available at 1 rupee or 2 rupee per unit, whereas in peak time, people are ready to pay 15 rupees or 18 rupees. So people are looking at a different kind of possibilities, since it is commercially viable and technically executable. So as an engineering, I'll say, keep your open mind. Fundamentals are going to be same for next 100 years. They're not going to change. Only you have to be realistic, look at the trends and connect those fundamentals to the whatever current happening in next 5 years or 10 years. Look, have a period of 5 to 10 years going ahead. So that is how I will define engineering. You're on mute, I think.
Sorry, sir. Thank you, sir. We really have a new perspective towards electrical engineering now. Now, as we know the general definition of electrical engineering, my next question to you is, what is the scope of electrical engineering in the core industrial sector in India as well as abroad?
So there is a huge scope. Why I'm saying, because there is a complete change in the attitude happening in last 5-10 years in the way things are changing. As per there is one aspect where people are looking at, as Rahul said, from air insulated to the gas insulated substation. So this is a compact, having more efficiency. So efficiency is something which people are looking at. Now, how you bring that efficiency? By any means, if you're bringing efficiency by reducing the size or improving the performance, people are going for it. And if you have anything which is helping them, you will be moving to the next level. And you have to look at from that angle where I can improve the efficiency, be it a small size or be it the operating, like reducing the operating wastage or whatever it is. So things will change in that manner, because as we evolve, we look for better and better solutions, and that they will continue to happen. Now with the technology, with the supercomputers, there is a huge data available. So looking at those aspects, how can you bring in better solution? So that is where the scope is, and the scope is huge because it is a fundamental change. So that those fundamental changes happen generally 40 years or 30 years. Now it is happening. So again, we are going to, because this data explode. So the way first thing was internet, which is 25 years ago. Now we are looking at a data explode, which is we are already 2 years or 3 years into it. And now it will go for next 10 years. So during this change, there will be a lot of solutions will be there, and a lot of things will, as far as India and abroad are concerned. And since the economy is global, there is a very less period of shift if you look at from a world or Indian perspective. And I will give one example, slightly away from what we are discussing, but India is the largest digital payment country. So we are the number one to go for an UPI payments, and number of transactions, number of money getting exchanged. We have between China, US is like very far behind us. So there will be indigenous solutions, and this is what will happen in next 20-30 years when it comes to energy. The way Western world uses energy and the way we will use energy will be completely different in next 20 or 30 years, the way we are progressing. This change we need to adopt very fast, and there will be very huge scope onto electrical, because there will be control systems, there will be different aspects. So core engineering will remain same, only the application point of view will change fast, and there will be a very big role data is going to play into that. So looking at those technology and data, technology and efficiency improvement resulting in a commercial results. So this is what we will be looking at, because another example, last example where I'll answer, close my answer. The societies, for example, big societies are now thinking utilizing their rooftop for converting the solar energy to an electrical one and getting rid of the maintenance cost, because they are now directly putting it to a grid. Put a solar panel on the roof, put it to the grid. You will get a direct benefit from an electric board, like the MSEB or whoever board is, and you are maintenance free. Your society's maintenance is taken care of, at least 60-70% of that. So this kind of solutions were not there 20 years before, because the efficiency was not there, converting solar to electrical. Now with the sophisticated technology and technological change, that is happening, and then things will change dramatically. And this is going to happen in the next 10 to 12 years. That is what is I see, because there is a lot of funding available for solar or renewable, whatever you do, and whatever a small, even if you want to have a startup into this domain, there is a huge funding available. People are open for technology enabled startups, improving efficiency. They are ready to put crores of rupees on your stake, provided that you bring the solution. So there is a lot of things. And in indigenous solution, yes, if you go to Bangalore, you will find a lot of startups into this domain, technology and data, technology and commercial or efficiency improvement. So this is where we will see next 10 to 15 years how electrical engineering is going to shape. Even almost all core engineering, even mechanical engineering is going to shape in that manner, because nobody has thought 20 years before that we will move from a combustible engine, a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke engine, to an electrical, because there is an environmental impact to it. And that is seen the reality. We have seen a reality now. So next 20 years, the way government of India placed that by 2030, we will have more electrical vehicles than the diesel vehicle or a petrol vehicle. So this shows that how things are going to change in next 10 to 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are really enlightened. And now I would request Mr. Varun Wag, sir, to unmute and discuss with us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the session, sir.
मी एका ब्रेकडाऊन मध्ये असल्यामुळे व्हिडिओ ऑन करू शकत नाही, पण बोलू शकतो. आज सगळ्यांनी, आज मी माझ्याबद्दल बोलतो. पहिले माझं नाव वरुण वाघ. मी MSEB महावितरण महाराष्ट्र राज्य विद्युत वितरण कंपनीमध्ये सहाय्यक अभियंता या पदावरती कार्यरत आहे. सध्या माझी बदली नाशिक टेस्टिंग डिपार्टमेंट म्हणजे नाशिक चाचणी विभाग इथे आहे. मी स्वतः इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनिअरिंग केलेलं आहे. माझा डिप्लोमा KK वाघ या संस्थेतून झालेला आहे. त्यानंतर डिग्री माझी चिंचोलीमध्ये विश्वेश्वरय्या इन्स्टिट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नॉलॉजी इथून झालेली आहे. त्यानंतर मी एनर्जी ऑडिटर झालोय. प्रोफेसर बी कुशारे सर यांच्या मार्गदर्शनाखाली स्वतः एनर्जी ऑडिटर झालेलो आहे. आणि सध्या 2007 पासून मी महावितरण मध्ये सहाय्यक अभियंता या पदावरती काम करत आहे. आता इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनिअरिंगच का घ्यावं याआधी मी एक सांगतो. मी महावितरण मध्ये असल्यामुळे माझ्या कंपनी बद्दल सांगतो. महावितरण ही महाराष्ट्र सरकारच्या संपूर्ण मालकीची कंपनी आहे. कंपनी अधिनियमानुसार 31 मे 2005 रोजी तत्कालीन महाराष्ट्र राज्य विद्युत मंडळाची पुनर्रचना केल्यानंतर शेवटच्या ग्राहकापर्यंत वीज वितरण करण्यासाठी या कंपनीची स्थापना करण्यात आलेली आहे. ही कंपनी ग्राहकांना वीज पुरवठा करण्यासाठी वीज वितरण यंत्रणा विकसित करणे, संचालन करणे आणि देखभाल करणे ही महावितरणची मुख्य उद्दिष्टे आहेत. विद्युत कायदा 2003 च्या कलम 14 नुसार डीम्ड डिस्ट्रीब्युशन परवाना धारक म्हणून शेवटच्या ग्राहकापर्यंत वीज पुरवठा करण्यासाठी सक्षम वीज यंत्रणा उभारण्याचा व त्याची देखभाल करण्याचा वीज वितरण व्यवसाय महावितरण सांभाळत आहे. महावितरणकडून मुंबई शहर वगळता काही उपनगरांसह उर्वरित महाराष्ट्रात वीज पुरवठा केला जातो. सुमारे 70,000पेक्षा अधिक कर्मचारी तसेच 2,87,00,000 ग्राहक संख्या व वीज पुरवठ्याच्या दृष्टीने महावितरण ही देशातील व आशिया खंडातील सर्वात मोठी वीज वितरण कंपनी आहे. महावितरण कंपनीकडून 33/11 किलो केव्ही क्षमतेचे 4,000 पेक्षा अधिक उपकेंद्र आणि स्विचिंग सबस्टेशन्स आहेत. 25,000 उच्चदाब वीज वाहिन्या, सुमारे 8 लाख वितरण रोहित्रे म्हणजे ट्रान्सफॉर्मर्स, त्यानंतर 11 केव्ही क्षमतेच्या 3,30,000 किलोमीटर वाहिन्या आणि 33 केव्ही क्षमतेच्या 50. हॅलो,
Yes, carry on, sir. Carry
सर
on.
बोला तुम्ही, आम्ही ऐकतोय सर, बोला प्लीज.
हा, कोणाला तरी मराठी कळत नाही, परंतु मी 15 वर्षापासून म्हणजे मराठीमध्येच आहे, त्यामुळे त्यांना त्रास होऊ शकतो.
हरकत नाही सर, हरकत नाही, बोला तुम्ही.
अच्छा, महावितरण MSEBच्या तीन कंपन्या आहेत. महाराष्ट्र स्टेट जनरेशन कंपनी, त्यानंतर ट्रान्समिशन कंपनी आणि डिस्ट्रीब्युशन कंपनी, अशा 3 कंपन्या आहेत. या तिघांमध्ये तुम्हाला भरपूर स्कोप आहे. हॅलो,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
हो.
आवाज जातोय सर?
आवाज येतोय, बरोबर. बोला तुम्ही.
हा, तिन्ही कंपन्यांमध्ये तुम्हाला ऍज अन इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियर म्हणून तुम्हाला स्कोप भरपूर आहे आणि दरवर्षी रिक्रुटमेंट महावितरण मध्ये चालू असते, त्यानंतर ट्रान्समिशन कंपनीमध्ये चालू असते, जनरेशन कंपनीमध्ये चालू असते. महावितरण कंपनी सगळ्यात मोठी रिक्रुटमेंट कंपनी म्हणून ओळखली जाते. तर अशा प्रकारे तुम्हाला MSEB मध्ये किंवा म्हणजेच महावितरण मध्ये काम करण्याची भरपूर मोठी संधी आहे. इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियर म्हणून तुम्हाला हे सांगायचं आहे की इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियर हा प्रत्येक इंजिनियरचं काम करू शकतो. सिव्हिल इंजिनियरचंही काम करू शकतो, मेकॅनिकल इंजिनियरचंही काम करू शकतो, कम्प्युटर ऑपरेट करू शकतो, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स इश्यू असतील म्हणजे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सर्किटरी असतील ते सुद्धा तो हँडल करू शकतो. त्यामुळे इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनिअरिंग आपण चूज केलं पाहिजे असं माझं म्हणणं आहे. आणि कोणाचे अजून काही प्रश्न असतील तर मला सांगावे.
धन्यवाद सर, माझ्या पहिल्या प्रश्नाचं तुम्ही आत्ताच उत्तर देऊन टाकलं, त्याबद्दल खरंच धन्यवाद. मी तुम्हाला तेच विचारणार होते की इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियरच का बरं चूज करावं 12वी नंतर, त्यासाठी खूप धन्यवाद. मला पुढचा क्वेश्चन असा विचारायचा आहे की गव्हर्नमेंट सेक्टर मध्ये काय ओपनिंग्स आहेत आणि इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियर्स कुठे रिक्रूट होतात जास्त करून, कारण गव्हर्नमेंट जॉब्स जास्त करून मुलांना हवे असतात, तर त्याबद्दल काय सांगाल?
बरोबर आहे, मी तुम्हाला पहिले सांगितलेलं आहे, महावितरण ही इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियर साठी सगळ्यात मोठी रिक्रुटमेंट करणारी आशिया खंडातली सगळ्यात मोठी कंपनी आहे. दरवर्षी सुमारे 2,000 ते 2,500 इंजिनियर्स महावितरण कंपनीमध्ये जॉईन केले जातात किंवा त्यांची एक्झाम घेऊन त्यांना रिक्रूट केलं जातं. तसेच महावितरण मध्ये कंपनी सोडून जाण्याचा जो रेशो आहे, म्हणजे राजीनामा देणे किंवा कंपनी सोडून जाणे इतर कारणामुळे, हा फार कमी आहे. त्यामुळे महाराष्ट्र स्टेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिस्ट्रीब्युशन कंपनी ही सगळ्यात अग्रगण्य कंपनी आहे आणि गव्हर्नमेंट जॉब असल्यामुळे एक जॉब सिक्युरिटी असते. प्लस नुसता गव्हर्नमेंट जॉब नाही, परंतु आपल्याला एक गोरगरीब सर्वसामान्य जनता आहे, त्यांना आपण गव्हर्नमेंट स्कीम्स ज्या आहेत त्यांच्यापर्यंत आपण पोहोचू शकतो. ही एक कुठेतरी मनाला समाधान मिळू शकतं. म्हणून महावितरण कंपनी मध्ये काम करणं मला योग्य वाटतं. आणि त्यामुळे आपण सगळ्यांनी ट्रान्समिशन कंपनी असेल किंवा डिस्ट्रीब्युशन कंपनी असेल, इथे जॉब करण्यास काही हरकत नाही. तुम्ही कॉम्पिटिटिव्ह एक्झाम्स जेव्हा नोटिफिकेशन निघतं तेव्हा तुम्ही अप्लाय करून या कंपनीमध्ये जॉब करू शकता.
धन्यवाद सर, आम्हाला नक्कीच गव्हर्नमेंट जॉब साठी हे फायदेशीर ठरेल. धन्यवाद. पुन्हा मी तुमच्याकडे क्वेश्चन घेऊन येणारच आहे. त्याआधी आय वुड लाईक टू रिक्वेस्ट मिस क्षिप्रा राजन्स मॅम टू अनम्यूट अँड पार्टिसिपेट विथ अस.
Hello, good evening all. Thank you.
Hello ma'am. Hello ma'am. Good afternoon. Welcome to the session. My very first question to you is, what is electrical engineering in your view? Can you just elaborate in 2 to 3 sentences what is electrical engineering?
See, I thought of this question when I was pursuing electrical engineering, And it is only after I have had few years that I got the perspective of what electrical engineering means to me. And this came to me actually during the power electronics lecture when Munjay sir was teaching us. And I would simply put in electrical engineering in a sentence where I would say it is an art wherein you bring into perspective imagination and logic. Okay, that is the simple way I can define electrical engineering, because this is how I have taken up whatever I have learned and I have utilized in my corporate career. When I'm saying that electrical engineering has given me, it is an art of imagination and logic, I say this with a perspective because you cannot see flux, you cannot see electricity. Okay, you have to imagine it. Whenever you are imagining that the poles are moving, or the varying sine wave is generated when the electricity is flowing, you cannot see it, you have to imagine it. And that is where actually it builds your brain cells, the gray cells that it builds, it actually does that. And when I say that what is potential, the work done to bring infinitesimally small cell from infinity to that point against the direction of electric field, so you really cannot imagine, like you really cannot see things. But when I see that this is the beam and this is the cantilever and the force will be acting, there will be a fulcrum over there, you can see those things, you can understand those things. But electrical engineering is actually an art of imagination, and that actually helps you build your thinking muscle, and that actually takes you ahead. And I can say this with full confidence because if you look at the curriculum, what we have had during our 4 years of course, so 1/3 of the syllabus is almost the quant section or the numerical section. So that actually helps you with the analytical skills that you need to build, which formula to use, what is the logic behind the question that is given, what is the HP of the motor that is being used. So if this is this HP's motor is used and number of poles are these, okay, then how do I go ahead? So this has helped me in my career. This is electrical engineering for me. The ability to solve the problems, to think towards the problem from different perspective. This is what electrical engineering is to me. Okay. Going ahead, when I went into industry, I entered into Mahindra, and I was put into quality department. Okay, I really wanted to go into maintenance department because I thought that there would be that would be the right place for me to apply my knowledge of switchgear or whatever I have learned over my 4 years of engineering. But I was put into quality department. In the quality department, whatever problems used to come in line quality, product quality, I was in supplier quality. So whatever I have learned during my 4 years of engineering, I actually applied that. So electrical engineering for me is actually ability to solve the problems on board with whatever resources you have. And I must say this has actually helped me to go ahead and get into Deloitte where I'm working as an analyst in operation transformation. I get to work with a variety of problem statements ranging from a company which is offering earth diggers to the company that is offering e-cigars, and they give me problem statements and I have to solve the problems. There is huge travel involved. There is the client side engagement that is involved. You have to go onto the field. You have to see the problem area. Sometimes you have to go to the plant as well, see what are the operations, see where are the shortcomings. So for me, electrical engineering is this ability to solve problem with whatever resources you have with you, using that most beautiful organ of your body, the brain.
Thank you, ma'am. Your answer was really interesting and fascinating. Now, I would like to proceed for my next question. Many of the students are inclined towards artificial intelligence and machine learning. They have a deep sense of interest in these fields. So my question is, what is the role of electrical engineers in the field of machine learning and data science? Can you just help us?
Like Mr. Rahul had said, or Mr. Amol has said, or even Varun sir has said that now is the age. Even I would say all the panelists, and almost I resonate with the opinion of all the panelists when they say, and I repeat it, that today is really not the age where we can really bucket people into, okay, this is an electrical engineer, this is a mechanical engineer, this is a software engineer. We really cannot do it. We have living examples in KK, people from my batch. There is a person called Darshan Rajput. Okay, so he's an IT engineer, 2018 batch, my batch. But that person is currently working on a manufacturing guide. Okay, he's helping people to set up manufacturing plants and guiding them. That there is another friend of mine who was from the same batch as me. He's from Sandeep Foundation. Now he's a mechanical engineer, but he is running a software app called as FreshNorm, that is a food delivery solution in Nasik, healthy food delivery solution in Nasik. Okay, so I really don't think that particularly electrical engineer have only these many areas of scope, or only these opportunities are available. I really wouldn't say that. It actually boils down to what are you interested in. Okay, so from third year of engineering, I really got invested and inclined towards electrical vehicles. I started learning about it. I started researching it. I have had some wonderful discussions with Jaideep Shah sir on EV, on smart city, and I think that is where I was able to utilize this knowledge and get into electric vehicle sourcing at Mahindra and Mahindra. So it really actually boils down to what are you interested in. So if you're interested in data science, if you're interested in machine learning, you're always welcome. And as far as the role of an electrical engineer, if I want to put it, I would never say that there are restrictions. I would never say that electrical engineers can never work in data science, in AI, or data science in deep learning. No, it is an open ground to you. And I would always encourage you to go there and, chart those uncharted territories. Always push your limits. But if you really want to utilize whatever information or whatever knowledge you have gained over the period of year. So in machine learning, there are some interesting information that I read recently, that there are some universities in Michigan that are actually using machine learning and artificial neural network to determine and predict the possible failures that might happen in transmission lines, or the possible failures that might trip a particular circuit and may cause the complete blackout. I mean, let's face it, we all know the losses that we face if there is even a blackout of an hour or so. I mean, we faced it during the Amphan or during the cyclones. Huge losses a country faces when there are blackouts, and electrical engineers are the ones who are at the on the field and fighting to continue the supplies. So yeah, there are these areas like machine learning or deep learning where this can be used. One fine example I can give you is power systems. So right, the students would relate. Power systems is a subject which all of you must be having in your third year last sem or final year first sem. So if I take example of power system, then actually data science or machine learning can be used to build models for load forecasting, or you can go ahead with fault prediction, the SCADA network, which is there, right? The SCADA, of course, all of you must have learned about SCADA. So that is there. Smart grid application, this skill of data science can be used. Also application of VLSI technologies. So again, there is one more batchmate of my batch, Vikram Dange, who has completed his electrical engineering. Further, he went ahead to IIT Guwahati, completed his master's in VLSI. So really saying deep learning and machine learning or artificial intelligence can be used as a very great tool to leverage your base of electrical engineering. And there's a use scope, I must say.
Can I add in for the machine learning? Now, what kind of, do they want software machine learning, or they're interested in building the chips that enable the machine learning, right? It depends on what you want. Now I'm working on a DMS system, is driver management system for the next generation. So I have got into chips. My main business is chips, right? Making chips, IC chips, semiconductor, VLSI. So what machine learning you want to do, right? There are a lot of software algorithms you can develop. So have the students taken coursework in college for that?
So not exactly the course, but we try to analyze things related to our seminars or projects, we can say. We try to extract more things about it.
Correct. So if you want to get into AI, or you see, AI is it's been around since 1960s, 70s, people are talking about AI, right? Only now with massive compute, and these are all new chips, right? These are all tensor processing, a lot of chips that have come up. CNN networks, like she talked about Shipra, right? These are all CNN is neural networks. Until you get, what do I say, in-depth knowledge of that, only then you can get into it, right? Software, yes, software you get a AI system and then you program it, and like she does data. is the data is massive, but what to look for in that data, right? That is important. I mean, all this now, a lot of industrial machines have this IoT based data coming out, but that data is useless unless you know what you're looking for or what trainings that she would do or the people would do to learn out of it, right? So it depends on what the engineers want to do. I mean, I would like to hear people, they're sitting there, none of them have spoken. I mean, of course we are speaking, but if they have some interaction, they have some, what exactly do they want to do? Now I'll just give you one last before I open it. So the driver management system that I'm working on, it has all cameras on all mirrors, on the mirrors, back, front, even inside the vehicle. And it will have a obstacle management, obstacle detector. It has a LiDAR, it has a radar. It will be integrated with the LiDAR radar. And hopefully by 25, 26, it will go into a BMW or a Volkswagen. So there are a lot of opportunities, and it's not just electrical, right? Like every one of the panelists has said, it's just, you have to get an in-depth knowledge of it, and then you can attack or you can go into that field.
Thank you, ma'am and sir. We'll definitely try to explore new things. My next question is to Amol Khanorkar, sir. Sir, what will be your advice to the parents who are taking admission of their ward to engineering? Just in 2 to 3 lines, please, sir.
Yes.
Does
Does the kid has an aptitude for engineering, to solving problems? That is my only advice to the parents. Just because everybody else son is becoming an engineer, don't put your son to become an engineer or daughter or to become an engineer. Rather, see if your kid has an aptitude for engineering, and then only put him there. And if he's willing to get the basic knowledge, not be a rote. That's about it.
Adding to this, I would like to add here. See, there's a wonderful book, and it's a management book. But I think every student sitting in the classroom in the Faraday Hall would be very inspired to go ahead and start solving problems, whatever comes across their table. So there is this book called The Goal by Elidrat Elayu, and it is a wonderful book when it comes to problem solving or industry, what industry expects out of a person. So if you have time, I would really suggest you go ahead and get a copy and read the book through and through. I read it twice before I understood the actual gist of the movie. It's a wonderful book. You should really go ahead and read it.
Yes, ma'am, will definitely. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir, for your advice and valuable words. My next question is to Amol Saregaonkar, sir. Can you please participate, sir, for my next question?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So, as we all are aware, how environmental issues as well as energy demands are increasing day by day, we would like to hear your views regarding sustainable development. So, how electrical engineering is socially relevant, or how it can help to achieve sustainable development goals?
See, sustainability was just a concept of 2010, 12, worldwide. People were talking about it. But now it's a way of life. We realize as a world that resources are going to get depleted. There is a temperature rise, there is a threat to environment, and there are evidences of that. Now, once the evidences are there, there has to be a force which is working on it. And when Trump did that treaty, we will not sign the treaty, America first and all this stuff, then the worldwide again a movement started that unless and until we link a finance to it, will not be able to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So what they have done is they have strategically put finances into all this. That if you are environmental friendly policies, yes, we will give you support. If you are not so environment friendly, or you are going for a fossil one or a traditional one, we will not support you. And this is the worldwide movement started. Of course, there are countries like Norway. They have specifically said that we will be only environmental and social. We will invest only in socially and environmentally sensitive companies. So when the money comes into place, that is what drives every investor worldwide to put as far as the business is concerned or capital formation is concerned. Once that started, it has taken a significant effort. Now there are GRI or SASB, so there are frameworks which ensures that company reports what action they have taken to reduce the environmental impacts. And environmental impact and power is very, very strongly connected. That is where the electrical engineering plays a very vital role. But of course, there is an heat. For example, the Thermax or the, I forgot the name of the company in Pune, Atlas Copco and all this. So all these companies started getting much more orders when they are talking about utilization of energy, utilization of it, converting into an electricity and utilizing it for a day-to-day work. So this has started because the funding started for either improving efficiency or looking at the environmental aspect. So if you are having an environmentally sustainable policies, yes, you will get funding. So now people have started investing in that. There is very less power plants, thermal run or gas run power plants are getting funded. Whereas if you go for a solar or a wind energy, there is a huge finances available. Company like NTPC, which the name says that it's a thermal company, is only investing into renewable sources since last 3 years. So their agenda is to invest in. So yes, electrical energy or electric power is going to play a very vital role. Now another example I will say. So Bitcoin, there is an people are talking about Bitcoin and investment, all this stuff. Suddenly, when they realize that for mining a Bitcoin, you need a huge electrical energy, and if that electrical energy is funded or supported by a thermal, people started not supporting Bitcoin. The Elon Musk tweeted that, boss, I will not support because the Bitcoin mining is powered by a thermal power plant. So I will not support that. Unless and until you start getting powered by a renewable energy, I will not support you. And suddenly the Bitcoin price went down by almost 50%. So this is what environmental is. Now you have to shift completely from a thermal to one renewable. See the kind of solutions you will require when it comes to power. So that is where the entire story is. So how we can get adopted to a renewable one and how fast we reach a goal. For example, British Petroleum or there is Exxon Mobil. So these are the world's largest oil companies. They said, they pledged that by 2030 or 2050, they have set the targets that we will be carbon neutral. The largest polluter of the world, if they commit that we will be carbon neutral in next 30 years, see the change it is going to have on the world. So that is something which is, I would say. So look for energy conservation, look for renewable energy. There is a huge scope into research and development, the commercial adoption, and wherever you can bring that change. So I would say focus on renewable energy research rather than the traditional one if you are looking for a research part of it. If you are looking for commercially this, then look at the application. Because at the end of the day, it's electrical engineer who will be better placed to sell the renewable energy products than anybody else when it comes to power products or this. So sales is another area where you can get a lot of opportunities as an engineer, a final year engineering. After that, you can get into a sales of products, which is a really good field, high pay or rewards, and believe me, competition is very less because only electrical engineers are there. And if somebody is coming from an MBA and a non-engineering background, he will not be able to understand the technical requirements of the customer. So electrical engineers will have a clear-cut edge over others. So that is another field you can look at for a job or a career kind of thing. I hope I have answered your query.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We have really gained much knowledge and information from you. So my last question to you is, what will be your advice to the students who are taking admission to engineering?
Fundamental and analytical skills. Don't shy away from learning fundamentals. People are a lot of things are saying that world is changing, everything has, but Ohm's law has not changed. The fundamentals are still working. The transmission the electrical power is getting transmitted through the the most efficient way or least resistance path. So fundamentals should be good, number one. Number two, you need to have a strong understanding or a strong analytical mind, because at the end of the day, you are going to be a problem solver, as Shipra said. There is a problem in front of a company and you are going to solve. Unless until you do that, you will not progress in a career. So that is another, you should have the analytical mind or a problem solving attitude. The third thing is you need to be good at communication. I'm not talking about the language part of it. The English is just a language, you can learn it and it will not take much time. But language is very, very important. The communication, sorry, language is not important. Communication is very, very important. You need to be forthcoming, ask questions to people, be open, don't shy away. So behavioral aspects of communication you need to learn. That is what I would say. Sorry. So these are the three aspects you should look at.
Thank you, sir. It was really great talking to you. Now I would request Rahul Patel, sir, to participate in the discussion session. Patel, sir. Okay, sir. We'll see afterwards. I would like to ask my next question to Varun Wagh, sir. Sir, can you please unmute?
Yes.
Sir, what are the future plans of the government of India in the power sector, and what will be the future of the Indian power sector? Sir, can you please elaborate?
बघा, सरांनी 2-3 स्पीकर्सनी सांगितलं की आपल्याकडे जेव्हा सबस्टेशन्स म्हणजे जुने सबस्टेशन्स होते हे एअर इन्सुलेटेड होते. आता नवीन प्रकारे आपल्याकडे GIS सबस्टेशन्स येत आहेत. त्याच प्रकारे आज जर महावितरणकडे जर बघितलं तर महावितरणमध्ये सगळ्यात जास्त आता इथून पुढे GIS सबस्टेशन्स होत आहेत. आता आपल्याला पुढे जाऊन महावितरणमध्ये भरपूर प्रमाणामध्ये AMR म्हणजे ऑटोमॅटिक मीटर रिडिंग्स आहेत, इंडस्ट्रियल कंझ्युमर्स आहेत, त्यांना 24 आवर्स सप्लाय देण्यात येणार आहे. सप्लाय तर आपण देतोच आहोत. ऍग्रिकल्चरल कंझ्युमर्स आहेत, त्यानंतर रेसिडेन्शियल कंझ्युमर्स आहेत. या सर्व गोष्टी ऑटोमायझेशन कडे आपण हळूहळू सरकत आहोत. ऑटोमायझेशन असल्यामुळे प्रत्येकाची मॉनिटरिंग, प्रत्येकाच्या पुढच्या गोष्टी आहे, आन्सरिंग असते, कस्टमर सर्व्हिसेस आहेत, ह्या हळूहळू इम्प्रूव्ह होत आहे. त्यामुळे या सगळ्या गोष्टींमध्ये आपण निश्चितच पुढे जाऊन चांगल्या प्रकारे सेवा मिळणार आहे सगळ्यांना. हॅलो.
येस सर, बोला तुम्ही.
अजून काही क्वेश्चन आहेत का?
नाही सर, थँक्यू. तुमचे वर्ड्स ऐकले आम्ही खरेच खूप प्रोत्साहित झालो आहोत. थँक्यू सर. My next question is to all the panelists present here. What is the role of internship in the career of electrical engineers? Anybody?
You should do internship, multiple internships. I would say whenever you get an opportunity, do 10 days internship, 1 month internship. In fact, you should start from a second year. At least go in any company, even if it is a very small SME, just go there, see what is happening, be there for 15 days, learn and look at in any aspect. For example, the way Shipra said, maintenance department, yes, let's go and look at the maintenance department. If they are asking you to do something or help them into production line, so go there, observe. You will learn a lot. So I would say internship, you should do multiple internships. 15 days, starting with 15 days, or utilize your summer vacations. 15 days, 1 month. If you can do 3 or 4 internships throughout the 4 years, it would be great. Apart from project, I'm talking about, this is apart from the final year project. This is something which you should do.
Me too agree with Amol sir. It is nothing about internship, about say some fixed tenure. When I passed out from Tekra, I just remember myself in Diwali vacations, it was a compulsion for us to go for industrial training for minimum 15 days. I don't know if it is continued or not. Adding to answers point, yes, internships add value to every individual. It adds value in terms of practical things, just looking at the products, knowing the intricacies of it, or maybe just be around the components wherever you can go. It's not necessary that every time you should be electrical industry only. So it's better to be intern always. The time frame could be from 1 week to maximum it can be anything.
Same. But I have a slightly different opinion on the timelines. I would suggest you do an internship for a couple of months in your summer. So at least you can get something out of it. Means, see, 15 days is good, but what happens is if you really want to have a feel and a depth into what a small project that they would give you, or you need to have at least 1 or 2 months into that internship. So because what happens is many people, a lot of resumes come in. Oh, I've done internship here, I've done internship there, I've done. What I look for is what have you learned into that internship? Have you spent some time, 8-10 hours a day, and picked up something? That is more important just than writing on a resume. So if you do an internship, do it, devote, as with all the panelists have said, right? Fundamentals. I think that is a recurring theme for anything that you do. Don't worry, life, once you are fundamentally good, life will treat you well.
I would totally agree with all the panelists. I think internships are an essential part of your engineering journey. And like Amol sir said that a long internship, a good long internship of a month and a half will actually add value to your knowledge base. At the same time, if you don't have time to spare, there are always courses running, real-time courses running at IIT Bombay in Science department. I remember when I had, I had ditched the second year ka cultural events, MAFIC, second year cultural events I did not attend. And I went to IIT Bombay and I did a few of the courses in embedded system for solar energy. And that was actually the first time I actually coded an Arduino. And that was a great experience for me. So look out for such opportunities. Go and, stalk, instead of stalking Instagram or Facebook or all those websites, you can always go and stalk IIT Bombay ka web page, understand which are the courses they are offering in their science department, which are the trainings they are providing. And these are not these trainings or these sessions are not much costly. And if you of course, I know many of you have friends in Pune and Mumbai, you can of course manage your stay over there. But go ahead, take a 5 days off or a 2 days off and go ahead and see the life there is. What are the new ideas? Meet new people. Maybe you will find a path which really interests you, and maybe that can turn out into your career. So take chances.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. My last question for this session is to Patel, sir. Can you please unmute, sir? I guess sir is busy with some other work.
No, okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. No doubt, electrical engineer is interesting and really fascinating. So, for acquiring more knowledge, what are the possibilities of higher education in electrical engineering in India or abroad?
See, higher education is preferred. It depends on interest. I would say it varies with person to person. Means gaining knowledge. See, knowledge is abundant in the world. So I must say it depends on the person how individual want to take it. Example, if somebody is good in academics or good in curriculum and doing some part and just want to add some value to the existing work he want to, then in my opinion, yes, higher studies are always preferred. May it be anything. See, there are various streams for doing higher education. It may be technical, it may be commercial, it may be non-technical also, or maybe in some philosophical kind of things also. To talk about specific about electrical engineering streams, yes, the people are appreciated if they go for higher studies, preferably. Then to be very specific about, yes, in industry, people are choosy about from where people are doing their higher education studies. because the more you go for higher studies, there will be like specific openings or specific chances. So as I was saying earlier, it depends on the person and how he want to pursue his career ahead. So there are always opportunity for higher studies. It depends on the person how he takes it. So in my opinion, in India also there are good organizations, maybe like IITs, IISc, NITs. They are offering good courses for higher educations. So they are always preferred in industry, not only in private industry. It is also preferred in the government organizations also. Likewise, abroad also people are preferring for going for higher studies. Only it is my personal opinion. It may vary with the others also. See, world, the way world is moving ahead, India is like, we are not world leaders to some extent. I can say in some areas. So we are following the world, the way the world is moving ahead. In that aspect, choosing the higher educational subjects outside India, going abroad, maybe some parts of US, Germany, or maybe in UK, specifying some specific subjects may add value to that course, to that person, based on the personal benefit, but may not be for continual time unless that market is open for other forums. So it should be very choosy. The person who is choosing for higher educational studies outside India should be very choosy and should have broader perspective, where he can see. We have seen various examples that people are going abroad for doing their MS programs and all, doing 1 or 2 years of job there, and when they want to come back to India, probably they are not getting the jobs here, because the field, the work, what they did or where they have been contributed is not seen here. So again, they have to go to their one step back, and maybe on their postgraduate level or on graduate level, they want to opt for the job. That is the biggest worry, in my opinion, while choosing the post-graduation course, typically outside India, I am saying. So it is always good that one should go for higher studies, but should be very choosy about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
On the coursework, so
Yes,
the point that Rahul has raised is very, very valid. But from a coursework, what I see the industry moving, if you are doing masters in India, you've already learned control systems. Now think about it, whole world, you see all these drones in the market,
yes,
right? Drones. What does it need? It is a control system. I guarantee you, all the kids sitting in the Faraday, nobody's understood Nyquist theorem. How many have understood Nyquist? Don't worry. If you say no, it's a correct answer, because when I was in college, I also didn't understand what Nyquist was trying to tell us. So my question, there are a lot of opportunities in the upcoming drone market. There is infrastructure, IoT based, like Shipra said, right? IoT based systems, data analytics. If you want to do masters in something like that in India, if you're going abroad, do VLSI. My kids are, now they have given their SAT, and I'm telling them, do computer science and aeronautics. Why aeronautics? Because the whole world is moving towards that. I mean, and it's not just learning the material science behind building a drone, or you need control systems, you need electrical systems, you need motors. I mean, you see where the world is moving. Electrical is in the heart of it. I mean, about 10-15 years back, electrical was like, nobody wanted to touch electrical, right? Because all electronics, telecommunication. Now where is telecommunication? Telecommunication is literally, people who are doing telecommunication, they're having a hard time finding a job, because that whole what do you call that whole boom time has passed. Now the boom time next, which I see, is control systems, drones, aeronautics, information systems. When I say information system, not just coding, okay, this value added information system of data analytics, machine learning, right? So these are where they should focus on doing masters. That is what I think.
thank you, sir. We will really remember your advice to us, and your valuable words have really enlightened us. I hope this helps our audience. Thank you to all our panelists to answer my questions and add value to it. Now I hand over to Ms. Nikita for expressing vote of thanks.
Are there any questions from the students?
Yes, we would like to answer a couple of them.
If anybody wants to ask a question from the Faraday Hall, he or she can. Please.
Hello, sir. I am Shirsat Pushpak from third year of electrical engineering. Sir, my question is, what is the various types of business related to electrical engineering that can give opportunity to small vendors?
Can you little elaborate on your question, because I have not understood, to be honest with you.
Are you looking for business opportunity for small scale industry? What is exactly the question, right? Like Amol said, what is exactly is the question for?
Whose question is this?
तर मी इंटरप्ट करतो, सॉरी. यांचं म्हणणं असं आहे की आपण बिझनेस काय काय करू शकतो ऍज अ एंटरप्रेन्युअर म्हणून. तर तुम्ही इलेक्ट्रिकल कॉन्ट्रॅक्टर होऊ शकतात. इलेक्ट्रिकल कॉन्ट्रॅक्टर होऊन तुम्ही जे काही इंडस्ट्रीज आहेत, कमर्शियल प्रोजेक्ट्स आहेत, रेसिडेन्शियल स्कीम्स असतील, त्यानंतर सबस्टेशन्स असतील MSEB मध्ये किंवा प्रायव्हेट सबस्टेशन्स असतील, तिथे तुम्ही कुठल्याही प्रकारचे इलेक्ट्रिकलचे कामं घेऊ शकतात. त्यानंतर आता डे बाय डे सोलर डिमांड्स म्हणजे कमर्शियल असतील, रेसिडेन्शियल किंवा इंडस्ट्रियल, सगळीकडे सोलर पॅनल्स, सोलर कनेक्शन्स, इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट्स, या सगळ्या गोष्टी आता नवीन कन्सेप्ट मध्ये येत आहेत. तिथे तुम्ही ऍज अ बिझनेसमॅन म्हणून प्रत्येक इंडस्ट्रीला किंवा घराला किंवा एखाद्या कमर्शियल असेल एंटिटी, तिथे तुम्ही सोलर हे करू शकतात, इन्स्टॉल करू शकतात. तो एक बिझनेस ऍस्पेक्ट आहे माझ्या मताप्रमाणे.
I think this is correct answer because participant is saying yes for that.
Thank you, sir, for elaborating.
I think you have answered almost all the questions, and that's why maybe students are not having any doubts. So thank you for that.
Once again, I express my thank you towards all the panelists. Now I hand over to Nikita for expressing vote of thanks.
I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers for gracing your important work and sharing with us all your feelings and opinion today. A special mention to Venerable Principal Professor Dr. K.N. Nandurkar Sir, in charge head Dr. R.K. Munje Sir, do our best and stand as a pillar of power. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to be the part of a panel discussion. Finally, I extend my thanks to all the participants for their cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
sir.
having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.